The Galactic Council chamber stretched across several kilometers of polished metal and glowing crystals. Representatives from dozens of alien species filled the massive space, their various forms creating a bizarre collection of shapes, colors, and sizes. Some floated in energy fields, others stood on multiple legs, and a few existed as pure light formations. The air hummed with translation devices working overtime to convert thousands of different languages into something resembling understanding. At the far end of the chamber, 3 humans sat at a small table that looked almost comically tiny compared to the grand alien structures around them. Ambassador Robert Harrison, a middle-aged man with graying hair, wore a simple black suit that seemed primitive next to the advanced materials and exotic technologies displayed by other delegates. Beside him, Dr. Margaret Walsh shuffled through paper documents while Commander Thomas Wright took notes with an actual pen. The Kytherian representative, a towering being made of what appeared to be living flame, spoke without moving what might have been a mouth. Its words emerged directly from translation speakers mounted throughout the chamber. The species calling itself humanity requests territorial rights to the Kepler 442 system. This request is amusing. Ripples of what sounded like laughter echoed from various alien delegates. The Helix Collective, appearing as a cluster of floating geometric shapes, pulsed with soft blue light as their collective consciousness processed the human request. Mathematical equations appeared in the air around them, calculating probability matrices that seemed to dismiss humanity entirely. These creatures arrived in our galaxy mere decades ago, continued another voice, this one belonging to the Meridian Federation spokesperson. The being resembled a giant jellyfish floating in a containment field, its translucent body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Their fastest ships barely achieve 2/3 light speed. Their weapons are chemical-based projectiles and primitive nuclear devices. They have colonized only 17 worlds, most of which struggle to maintain basic atmospheric processes. Harrison cleared his throat and stood up. His movement seemed almost absurd in the vast chamber, like a mouse trying to address a convention of elephants. Honored delegates, we appreciate your time and consideration. Earth's colonies in the Kepler system have been operating peacefully for 5 years. We've established mining operations, agricultural centers, and research facilities. Our people have invested their lives in building these communities. The Kytherian's flame body flickered with what might have been amusement. Investment. Lives. Such small concepts for such a small species. The Kepler system contains rare quantum crystals essential for our empire's expansion. Your mining operations are extracting materials we require for our Starforge projects. Perhaps, interjected the Vex Dominion's representative, an insectoid creature with multiple arms and a carapace that shifted colors constantly, these humans could serve as a client species. They show adequate ability to extract resources. Under proper supervision, of course. Harrison felt his jaw tighten, but his voice remained steady. We're not seeking to serve anyone. We're asking for recognition of our legitimate territorial claims based on first settlement and development. The chamber filled with sounds that the translation system struggled to interpret. Some might have been laughter, others possibly expressions of disbelief. The Nexus Coalition, a group mind existing as a swarm of tiny metallic particles, formed words in the air using their collective mass, human military assessment, negligible threat level. Recommendation, protective status under coalition guidance. Dr. Walsh leaned forward and whispered something to Harrison. He nodded slightly before addressing the assembly again. We understand that our technology may appear limited compared to your achievements. However, we ask that you not underestimate human determination or ingenuity. Determination. The Kytherian's flame grew brighter. Your entire species' military capability could not threaten a single one of our patrol vessels. Your largest warship carries projectile weapons that our shields absorb without registering impact. You speak of determination as if will alone could overcome the laws of physics. Commander Wright had been silent until now, but something in the alien's tone caused him to look up from his notes. His eyes moved slowly across the assembled delegates, cataloging each species, each technology display, each casual dismissal of human capabilities. The Ultrian Confederacy's representative, a being of pure crystalline structure that sang its words in harmonic frequencies, chimed in. Perhaps we offer protection. Small species need guidance. We have protected 17 developing civilizations. Humans would be 18th. Protection from what? Harrison asked. From themselves, primarily, the Helix Collective responded, their geometric forms rearranging into new patterns. Our analysis indicates humanity will likely destroy itself within 200 years through warfare, resource depletion, or technological accident. This follows standard patterns for species at your development level. Harrison exchanged glances with his companions. Dr. Walsh's expression had hardened, while Wright continued his methodical observation of the chamber's occupants and their technologies. "We appreciate your concern," Harrison said carefully, "but humanity prefers to chart its own course." The Kytherian's flame body expanded, filling more of its allocated space. "This is not a request for your preferences. The Kepler system will be incorporated into our empire within one galactic standard month. Your colonists may relocate to designated refugee worlds under Meridian Federation protection, or they may choose to serve our expansion efforts as a labor class. These are your options." The chamber fell silent except for the humming of translation devices and the subtle energy discharges from various alien technologies. Harrison felt the weight of 3 species survival resting on his shoulders. Around them, representatives of civilizations that had conquered star systems before humanity had discovered fire waited for his response. "We request the standard diplomatic grace period to consult with our government," Harrison said finally. "Granted," the Kytherian replied with what sounded like magnanimous condescension. "One galactic standard month. Use this time wisely, humans. Choose survival over pride." The month that followed the Galactic Council's ultimatum appeared deceptively quiet across the Kepler system. On the surface, human activities seemed to follow predictable patterns of a species preparing for inevitable retreat. Cargo ships moved between the 3 colonized planets with increased frequency, their holds filled with what alien observers assumed were personal belongings and critical equipment being evacuated before the Kytherian takeover. Captain Elizabeth Stone stood on the observation deck of Mining Station Alpha 7, watching another transport vessel dock with practiced efficiency. To any external scanner, the ship appeared to be loading refined metals and processed minerals. The reality was far different. Each container held components for weapons systems that had been developed in absolute secrecy over the past 15 years, ever since humanity's first contact with galactic civilization. "Transport Bravo 9 is loaded and ready for departure," reported Lieutenant James Parker through her communication device. "Final cargo secured in regulation containers." "Understood. Maintain standard shipping manifests," Stone replied, knowing that any alien intelligence monitoring their communications would hear only routine mining operations talk. Below in the station's cargo bay, workers in standard mining gear moved with practiced efficiency. Their leader, Supervisor Michael Davis, checked each container's contents one final time. Inside what appeared to be mineral processing equipment were components for kinetic bombardment systems, their tungsten rods manufactured to tolerances that would have impressed even Kytherian engineers. The technology wasn't alien-derived, but purely human innovation pushed to theoretical limits. On the planet's surface, Dr. Sarah Turner walked through what looked like a typical atmospheric processing plant. The massive structure hummed with machinery that genuinely did convert the planet's thin atmosphere into breathable air for the human colonists. But hidden beneath the facility's foundation, construction crews had spent months building something far more significant. The underground complex stretched for kilometers, housing manufacturing centers, weapon storage facilities, and command bunkers that could coordinate operations across multiple star systems. "The mirror array components are on schedule," Turner reported to her team during what appeared to be a routine engineering meeting. Her words carried double meaning. On the surface, she discussed improvements to solar collection systems that powered the colony. In reality, she was updating the progress on orbital weapon platforms designed to focus stellar energy into coherent beams capable of cutting through the strongest known alien armor. The Kytherian monitoring station at the system's edge detected all this activity, but their analysis confirmed expected behavior patterns. Their sensors showed increased energy consumption at human facilities, elevated transportation traffic, and expanded construction projects. The Empire's tactical computer classified these activities as resource consolidation prior to evacuation with 97% confidence. Commander Anna Mitchell reviewed these alien intelligence reports from her position aboard what appeared to be a standard cargo hauler. The ship's official designation was Earth Transport Vessel Pacific Trader, and its manifest listed agricultural equipment and food supplies. The Kytherian sensors detected exactly what they expected: a vessel with minimal defensive capabilities carrying civilian cargo between human colonies. They could not detect the ship's true nature. Beneath its civilian exterior, the Pacific Trader was humanity's most advanced warship, equipped with propulsion systems that could achieve speeds far beyond anything the galaxy had seen from human technology. Its cargo holds contained not farming equipment, but drone fighters and precision weapons that had been tested in absolute secrecy in the empty space between star systems. All ghost ships report ready status. Mitchell received through encrypted channels that appeared to alien sensors as routine maintenance communications between civilian vessels. Throughout the system, similar vessels maintained their disguises while preparing for operations that would redefine galactic understanding of human capabilities. The deception had required extraordinary coordination. Every human in the Kepler system knew their role in maintaining the illusion of weakness while preparing for war. On the agricultural world of Kepler 442c, farmer Robert Clark tended fields of grain that would genuinely feed the colony's population. But beneath his crops, the root systems hid fiber optic networks that connected underground command centers. His barns stored farming equipment, but also portable communication arrays that could coordinate with Earth's defense fleet across interstellar distances. The most crucial deception involved the apparent lack of human military presence in the system. Kytherian intelligence had correctly identified the locations of human security forces, catalogued their equipment, and assessed their capabilities. Every observation confirmed human military technology was decades behind galactic standards. The security forces carried projectile weapons, used chemical propulsion vehicles, and operated from facilities that looked like temporary structures built for basic colony protection. What the aliens could not see were the hundreds of human military personnel who had arrived over the past year disguised as civilian contractors, engineers, and agricultural specialists. Major Lisa Hayes had spent 6 months working as a mining equipment technician while actually serving as a tactical coordinator for orbital defense systems. Sergeant David Cole had gained local reputation as an excellent crop specialist while secretly establishing ammunition supply networks for weapons the aliens didn't know existed. The most significant element of the deception involved Earth itself. For weeks, Kytherian intelligence had monitored increased military activity in human space. Fleet movements, resource allocation, and communication traffic all suggested Earth was preparing defensive measures to protect their home system after losing Kepler. The pattern fit expected behavior for a species facing superior force. None of the alien observers realized that Earth's apparent defensive preparations were actually the final stages of offensive deployment. Human ships had been moving into position around Kepler for months, using routes and technologies that remained invisible to galactic detection systems. As the deadline approached, Captain Stone received her final orders through channels that appeared to be routine mining reports. The message was simple: excavation complete. All materials ready for processing. The trap was set. The deadline arrived with the precision of atomic clockwork. Admiral Robert Harrison sat in his command chair aboard what appeared to be a civilian diplomatic vessel, surrounded by equipment that looked outdated compared to the sleek technologies displayed throughout the galaxy. His uniform was simple, his ship's bridge cramped and functional rather than impressive. To any observer, he represented exactly what the galaxy expected from humanity: limited, primitive, and soon to be irrelevant. The Kytherian fleet hung in space like burning jewels against the darkness. 4 to 7 vessels arranged in perfect formation, their hulls glowing with contained plasma energy that could melt asteroids. Each ship was 3 times larger than the biggest human vessel ever seen, their weapon systems capable of sterilizing entire planets. The fleet's commander, Supreme Marshal Vorthak, had brought enough firepower to destroy 100 human colonies without breaking formation. Harrison's communication system crackled to life with the familiar translation static that preceded alien contact. "Human vessels, you have had sufficient time to consider our generous offer. Withdraw your people from this system immediately, or face the consequences of defying the Kytherian Empire." The Admiral looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. Navigation Officer Janet Peters continued plotting what appeared to be evacuation routes. Communications Specialist Mark Johnson maintained standard diplomatic frequencies. Weapons Officer Carol Davis sat at a console that showed only basic defensive systems. Everything looked exactly as the aliens expected. "Supreme Marshal Vorthak," Harrison replied through standard communication channels, "humanity has carefully considered your ultimatum. We respectfully decline to abandon our colonies. The Kepler system is our home, and we will defend it." The response that came back carried tones of disbelief mixed with condescending amusement. "Defend it? Human, your entire fleet consists of 12 vessels that our computers classify as barely capable of interplanetary travel. Your largest weapon systems are nuclear devices that our shields absorb like raindrops. You cannot seriously believe you can resist the Kytherian Empire." Harrison stood up from his command chair and walked to the main display screen, where he could see the alien fleet's formation spreading across space like a net designed to capture fleeing prey. "Marshal, we understand that our capabilities may appear limited. However, appearances can be deceiving. Enough, Vorthak's voice carried the finality of absolute power. Your primitive species has chosen extinction over wisdom. Kytherian fleet, advance. Disable their vessels and prepare for planetary occupation. The alien ships began moving forward with the slow confidence of predators approaching helpless prey. Their plasma cannons charged with energy that made space itself ripple around them. Shield systems activated with patterns of light that had terrified a dozen species into submission. The Kytherian Empire had conquered half the galaxy using this same overwhelming display of technological superiority. Harrison pressed a single button on his command console. Space around the Kepler system suddenly filled with light as massive structures materialized from what had appeared to be empty vacuum. The ships that revealed themselves were not the crude vessels the galaxy had seen from humanity. These were sleek predators, their hulls black as space itself, their surfaces covered with weapon systems that defied conventional understanding of physics. All call signs, this is Admiral Harrison, he broadcast on frequencies that had been silent until this moment. Operation Starbreak is now active. Engage all targets. Captain Elizabeth Stone's voice came back immediately from what the aliens had thought was a mining transport. Ghost Squadron acknowledging. Kinetic systems online and targeting. Commander Anna Mitchell's response followed from a vessel the Kytherian computers had classified as a harmless cargo hauler. Phantom wing ready. Stellar focus platforms deployed and charging. The Kytherian formation suddenly found itself surrounded by human ships that had been invisible moments before. The vessels moved with speed and precision that made the alien craft seem sluggish by comparison. Weapons that had never appeared in any galactic database opened fire with surgical accuracy. Tungsten rods accelerated to near-light speed sliced through Kytherian shields like they were made of paper. The projectiles had been calculated to disable rather than destroy, but the precision was terrifying. Engine systems failed, weapon arrays went offline, and shield generators shut down in cascading failures that left the alien ships helpless but intact. The most shocking display came from the orbital mirrors that had been disguised as solar collectors around the system's star. They moved into perfect alignment and focused stellar energy into beams that could cut through any known material. The focused starlight reached across space to disable the Kytherian flagship's main systems without harming the crew. Impossible, came Vorthak's voice, now stripped of its earlier confidence. Our sensors showed no military presence. Your ships were classified as civilian transports. Our ships were exactly what they appeared to be, Harrison replied calmly. We simply didn't show you everything they could become. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted exactly 17 minutes. Not a single human vessel took damage, while the entire Kytherian fleet found itself disabled and helpless. Rescue pods launched from the alien ships as their crews evacuated according to galactic military protocols, knowing that their vessels were beyond recovery. Dr. Sarah Turner's voice came through the command channel from the planet's surface. Mirror array returning to standby mode. All stellar focus systems operating within normal parameters. Ghost Squadron, begin recovery operations, Harrison ordered. Full rescue protocols for all Kytherian personnel. Make sure their evacuation pods have everything they need. As the alien crews found themselves rescued by the same humans they had come to destroy, emergency broadcasts began reaching every corner of the galaxy. The impossible had happened. The primitive species that had been dismissed as harmless had just demonstrated technology that surpassed anything the galactic civilizations had achieved. The silence that followed was absolute. The emergency broadcasts reached every major civilization within hours. Across the galaxy, alien leaders sat in stunned silence as they watched recordings of the impossible battle. The footage showed Kytherian warships, vessels that had conquered entire star systems, being systematically disabled by weapons that shouldn't exist. The humans had not destroyed the alien fleet, which might have been explained by some lucky discovery or desperate last stand. Instead, they had dismantled it with surgical precision that demonstrated complete technological superiority. In the crystalline halls of the Helix Collective, thousands of geometric minds processed the data simultaneously. Their calculations, which had given humanity a 0.03% threat probability, were being rewritten in real time. The mathematical models that had governed galactic politics for centuries suddenly seemed as primitive as counting on fingers. Supreme Council Leader Nexus Prime, a being of pure crystalline thought, communicated with its collective consciousness through harmonic resonance. Analysis indicates human deception capabilities exceed all known parameters. Their actual military technology appears to be several generations ahead of our most advanced systems. The collective's response rippled through their shared awareness like shock waves. For the first time in their species' history, they had encountered a civilization that had successfully hidden their true capabilities while allowing themselves to appear weak and vulnerable. Meanwhile, in the Meridian Federation's Bioship Command Center, President Marina floated in her nutrient bath while absorbing reports from across the galaxy. Her jellyfish-like form pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that indicated extreme concern. The Federation had built their entire diplomatic strategy around protecting smaller species from aggressive empires like the Kytherians. Now they realized they had offered protection to a species that could protect itself better than anyone. Send immediate communications to all Federation worlds, Marina instructed her council. Upgrade human diplomatic status to Level 1 threat assessment. Cancel all protection protocols. The most significant response came from the ancient progenitor species, who had remained hidden in the galaxy's outer reaches for over 10,000 years. These beings had achieved technological transcendence long before most current civilizations had developed spaceflight. They had watched the rise and fall of empires, intervening only when galactic balance was threatened. Elder Corinth, whose consciousness spanned multiple dimensional planes, manifested a physical form for the first time in centuries to address the Progenitor Council. The humans have achieved something we thought impossible. They have developed advanced military technology while maintaining the appearance of primitive development. This suggests planning and patience that rivals our own. Back in the Kepler system, Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of his command vessel, now revealed in its true configuration. The ship's civilian disguise had been shed like old clothing, revealing sleek weapon arrays and propulsion systems that made it one of the most advanced vessels in known space. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency to coordinate the aftermath of their demonstration. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Mark Johnson, "we're receiving surrender offers from 17 different Kytherian outposts across the galaxy. Their high command is requesting immediate diplomatic contact." Captain Elizabeth Stone's voice came through the command channel from her position coordinating the rescue operations. "All Kytherian personnel have been safely evacuated to our medical facilities. They are receiving full treatment according to galactic humanitarian protocols. Several of their officers are requesting asylum." The most interesting development came from an unexpected source. Commander Lisa Hayes, monitoring deep space communications from her position aboard a ship that had appeared to be a simple transport, intercepted a flood of messages between various alien civilizations. "Admiral, you need to hear this," she reported. "The Vex Dominion just ordered all their raiding fleets to return to home territories immediately. The Scan pirates have abandoned their attacks on shipping lanes. Even the Devourer cult has gone silent." Dr. Margaret Walsh, humanity's chief xenologist, analyzed the intercepted communications from her research station on Kepler 442b. Her facility had been disguised as an agricultural research center, but now revealed itself as one of the galaxy's most sophisticated intelligence analysis centers. "The pattern is clear," she reported to Harrison. "Every aggressive species in the galaxy is reconsidering their current operations. The demonstration wasn't just about defeating the Kytherians. It was about showing the entire galaxy that humanity has been watching, learning, and preparing." The true scope of human preparation became apparent as Admiral Harrison authorized the release of selected technical specifications to galactic databases. The information wasn't complete, but it was enough to demonstrate that human weapons technology had advanced far beyond what any civilization had achieved. The kinetic bombardment systems that had disabled the Kytherian fleet were revealed to be capable of striking targets anywhere in the galaxy within hours. The stellar focus technology could turn any star into a weapon of unprecedented power. Most disturbing to alien military analysts, the humans had developed cloaking systems that made their ships completely invisible to all known detection methods. "The implications are staggering," reported Vex Dominion military analyst Prime 7 to its insectoid leadership. "If humans can hide entire fleets, then we have no way of knowing their true military strength. They could have 10 ships or 10,000. Our intelligence networks have been completely compromised." As reports continued flooding in from across the galaxy, a clear pattern emerged. Species that had built their power on military conquest were suddenly reconsidering their expansion plans. Trade routes that had been disrupted by warfare began reopening as aggressive civilizations pulled back their forces. The Altrian Confederacy, whose crystalline representatives had offered humanity protection just weeks earlier, now found themselves analyzing how drastically they had miscalculated. Their harmonic communications sang with frequencies of respect and concern as they realized they had offered to protect a species that could protect them instead. Within 72 hours of the demonstration, 3 major galactic conflicts had ended. The century-long war between the Helix Collective and the Meridian Federation suddenly shifted to peace negotiations. Pirate activity dropped to levels not seen in generations. The galaxy had learned a simple lesson: humanity was watching. 6 months after the demonstration in the Kepler system, the galaxy had transformed in ways that surprised even humanity's most optimistic strategists. Admiral Robert Harrison walked through the corridors of the newly established Galactic Peace Station, a massive structure built at the intersection of 3 major space lanes. The station served as both a diplomatic center and a subtle reminder of human presence throughout the galaxy. The construction had been completed in record time, with materials and labor donated by dozens of species who suddenly found cooperation more appealing than conflict. Kytherian engineers worked alongside Meridian bioarchitects, while Helix Collective computational systems coordinated with human artificial intelligence networks. The collaborative effort represented something unprecedented in galactic history. Captain Elizabeth Stone stood in the station's main observation deck, watching ships from across the galaxy dock at the station's ports. Where once these species had been locked in various conflicts, they now came seeking trade agreements, technology exchanges, and most importantly, assurance that their activities remained peaceful. The Scan delegation is requesting a meeting about converting their raiding fleet into a legitimate cargo service, reported Lieutenant James Parker. His tone still carried notes of disbelief at how quickly former pirates were seeking to become law-abiding traders. Stone nodded, making notes on her electronic pad. The transformation of the Scan pirates had been one of the most dramatic changes. Within weeks of the Kepler demonstration, their leadership had reached out to human authorities offering complete surrender and requesting guidance on transitioning to legal activities. Their knowledge of hidden space routes and remote systems was proving valuable for establishing new trade networks. In the station's diplomatic quarter, Dr. Margaret Walsh conducted her daily briefings with representatives from various civilizations. The meetings had become routine over the past months, as species after species sought to understand human intentions and secure their place in the new galactic order. The Vex Dominion has submitted their quarterly military activity report, she informed the assembled delegates. All weapon developments have been shifted to defensive systems only. They are requesting approval to establish a new research partnership with the Altrian Confederacy. The Vex representative, an insectoid being whose carapace now displayed calmer color patterns than before, clicked its approval. The Dominion seeks only advancement through peaceful cooperation. Our previous expansion activities were poorly considered. Across the galaxy, the effects of humanity's revelation continued to reshape civilization. The ancient progenitor species, who had remained hidden for millennia, had emerged from their secret worlds to establish formal contact with Earth. Their advanced knowledge, combined with human innovation, was accelerating technological development at unprecedented rates. Elder Corinth materialized in the station's special containment chamber designed for energy-based life forms. The progenitor's consciousness flickered with patterns that the translation systems interpreted as deep respect mixed with curiosity. Young Admiral, Corinth addressed Harrison through dimensional communications that bypassed normal space. Your species has achieved something remarkable. In our long observation of galactic development, we have never seen a civilization maintain such successful deception while preparing such comprehensive peaceful solutions. Harrison smiled, still adjusting to conversations with beings who existed partially outside normal reality. We learned from watching everyone else's mistakes. War destroys more than it creates. We chose a different path. The most significant change had occurred in the galaxy's conflict zones. The century-long war between the Helix Collective and the Meridian Federation had ended with a peace treaty signed aboard the human station. Both species discovered that their fundamental disagreement over resource allocation could be solved through human-mediated trade agreements that benefited everyone. Commander Anna Mitchell coordinated these peacekeeping operations from her command ship, which now operated openly as humanity's most advanced vessel. Her crew monitored potential conflict zones and deployed diplomatic teams before disputes could escalate to warfare. Potential territorial dispute detected in the Rigel sector, reported her operations officer. 2 mining colonies claiming the same asteroid field. Deploy Mediation Team 7, Mitchell ordered. Standard protocol. Remind both parties about the resource sharing agreements and the benefits of cooperation over conflict. These interventions had become routine. Human diplomatic teams, backed by the subtle but clear presence of humanity's advanced military capabilities, were resolving disputes that might have previously led to wars lasting decades. The transformation wasn't limited to military affairs. Scientific cooperation had exploded across the galaxy as species realized that sharing knowledge produced better results than hoarding secrets. The Ultrian Confederacy's crystal-growing technology was being combined with human manufacturing techniques to create materials stronger than anything previously known. Dr. Sarah Turner managed these research partnerships from her facility on Kepler 442b, which had been expanded into one of the galaxy's premier scientific research centers. Teams of human and alien scientists worked together on projects ranging from faster-than-light communication to medical advances that could extend the lifespan of dozens of species. The joint project with the Meridian Federation has produced breakthrough results, she reported to the weekly Science Council meeting. Their bioengineering combined with our nanotechnology has created healing systems that work on any known life form. Perhaps the most unexpected development was the emergence of what analysts called the silent peace. Species across the galaxy had begun monitoring their own activities, knowing that humanity was watching but not knowing exactly how or from where. The uncertainty created a powerful incentive for peaceful behavior. Former pirates became merchants. Aggressive empires focused on internal development rather than conquest. Species that had been enemies for generations found themselves working together on projects that benefited everyone. Admiral Harrison stood at the center of this transformation, serving as humanity's first galactic coordinator. His daily communications with Earth helped shape policies that maintained the peace without creating an oppressive empire. The galaxy had learned to choose cooperation over conflict, not through force, but through the quiet understanding that humanity preferred peace and had the capability to ensure it continued. The stars no longer echoed with the sounds of war.